It's a beautiful day to be alive. A beautiful day to rest your mind. Would you find peace? Would you feel free? It's a beautiful day.
We are here in the kitchen catch up. We are live.
A beautiful day to feel thyself.
You feel that one?
Hang out with Dr. G.
That's me.
Matcha with Emily.
And that's her. All right, here we go. We are here on the kitchen catch up. How exciting. What is this, our fifth, sixth show? And already you'll see some stuff on the table because we got two special guests, the founders of Holy Cacao. They're going to be coming on shortly and they're going to show us how to make the best cup of cacao that you'll ever have in your life. I'm very excited about this. Super, super nutritional drink. But before we get to even making this, a lot of you know I was on a men's retreat and I was helping facilitate over 20 men into the deep emotional healing. And it was mind-blowing to see how bad men need this work. Emily, have you had any familiarity on these men's retreats? Have you heard about it in the community? Do you know anyone who's done a men's retreat?
I do know a few people who have led men's groups and men's retreats, but I've only seen them from afar. So I'm excited to hear from you, that we're in it. You know, you were trying to share with me this morning, and I was like, don't share yet because we need the people to hear too. We got to save it. So yeah, I want to hear about all the and Jason, our producer, he was there too. He was shooting it, and he said, by seeing the men healing, he was able to notice some things about himself too. So
Yeah, by proximity. So what I came in there knowing that men need healing, really, because we don't have much of a resource nor the tools on how to express what we feel. You know, we've had people, I've had partners who go, Christian, what do you feel? I'm like, let me think about it. Instead of actually going like, hold on, let me feel what I feel. You may have experienced it in your life with men in your life. And I didn't know that so many men are so disconnected from this. And one big thing that I learned was that a lot of men think that they're alone. Like, I have all of these things going on in my life. I have all this pressure on my back. I have to show up this way. Then I have work, and I have the relationship, and I got family stuff. And then when men are around other men, knowing, holy shit, like I have 10 things, they have 10 things. That guy has 10 things. We all have a bunch of things.
well, yeah, because it becomes this systemic issue where when no one feels like they're able to talk about it, then no one around them is talking about it. So then they think that they're alone in their experiences because they're not hearing their friends, you know, tell them about their experiences that they're having as well. And it's rare that they have these opportunities where they're really safe enough being guided by people like yourself who have gone through the work to be able to feel and to create this environment where other men can feel as well.
One guy that stuck out in my head, he was talking to me, he said, yo, every time my partner asks for some emotion from me, or even to connecting is the biggest thing, right? In a partnership, you want to feel connected to your partner, that they're there emotionally to actually feel you and be there with you, like presence from the masculine. But he always says, you know, when she starts asking him for connection, he kind of shuts down, doesn't even make eye contact, and just keeps doing what he's doing, kind of shuts her out. He said in his whole adult life, he hasn't felt. He's logically been mad, like, I'm mad about this, but he hasn't really felt. The first time in his adult life, and this guy was 38 years old, for the first time he's ever felt. And to see this man crying and screaming and crying some more, and then transforming, his wife sent me a DM and said, I don't recognize my husband. This is amazing. This is incredible. This is what she's been seeking. All she wants is connection. In his head, he's got to do a whole list of things to be good enough to show up for her. But the truth is, she just wanted to feel that he was there, present, not here, but in his heart. And imagine, like, he's one of 21 men who have very similar transformative changes. So
yeah, I remember we did that men's mental health panel, and you were talking about how it, you know, how it grows from a lot of times when you're a child and, you know, your dad, like, you do something, maybe you fall and scratch your knee and you start crying and your dad is like, no, be a man. And so you start to learn over time, and you don't realize that that's the narrative that's inside of you, is that, like, the second that I felt something when I was little, I was told to be a man and to not feel this thing. And so over time, anytime I feel something, I'm like, no, be a man, don't feel it. No, be a man, don't feel it. And then all of a sudden you don't even know what you're feeling because it's just that need to be masculine and to be a man.
And it's so surprised that men actually really want two big things: vulnerability and play. And to play and be silly and joyful, they need vulnerability. But when we can't be vulnerable, we become so serious about life and so logical that we actually lose the joy in our body. So to see these men over the few days really experience some hardship, some deep pain, but ultimately come back to this joy, especially some of them had like this life back to them. Their face was, their cheeks were red. This guy once said all his pain was gone. He came in there with pain, head to toe, and all his pain was gone. And he didn't even fully express everything. He still had some left in there. So I became a big champion of this because I actually think that every man needs this. Now, a small percentage of men will actually step into it, but those are the men that are going to change their communities, change their relationships, household, family, break generational trauma, change work, the people they work with. It's just going to be a huge resonant ripple effect. So, man, shout out to men. And it taught me that I can be more present with men. I feel so comfortable with women, less comfortable with men, but it taught me how to be more present with men.
That's something that I've been thinking of is, so, we look into like your demographics of the people who are following you, and majority are women. And now you've been, but I think, there could be different reasons for that, but maybe that they, just feel more comfortable in wanting to learn about these things, and there's still even that blockage of men realizing or being aware that they need to work on this. And so it'll be really interesting to see, now that you've done this men's retreat, and if you lean into more men's work, how to kind of break those barriers.
Yeah, and I think the things that men tune into is like better relationship with partner, because they know their partner's asking for more. Better relationship with their kids, something that is inherent in them. They want to be better fathers. And then like things like better performance, optimize your work, right? When you hear that, they go, oh, I want to be better at work. I want to optimize. Because one thing that really stuck out was when one of the facilitators said, his name is Owen, he said, a lot of you think you're going to lose your edge. The thing that when we have a trauma and we're living in shame, for example, we compensate, and sometimes we work really hard and we want to prove. And we build this giant company.
And then you're like, if anything changes, if I do anything differently, I'm going to lose. Like, what if I only got that because of, who I was, and so I don't want to change. But
it doesn't change. Your edge stays, but your resilience, your capacity expands. So you actually feel better doing what you do, and you allow for new things to come through. That's the thing about spirit. Like when we're blocked up as men, we're not connected to spirit. It's not flowing through us. So we're not allowing ourselves to be able to express what spirit wants. So say I have a company and it's doing well. Well, what if my spirit wants that company to take this pivot? Well, I can't hear it because I'm all blocked up.
Yeah, because there's a pattern of something coming up inside of you and you blocking it down. So like your mind is taking over from your intuition. And that also takes energy, and so there's so much wasted energy on like overcompensating and on just thinking about how you have to show up in the world instead of just letting, your spirit flow through you.
I want to hear from the audience. Has any of your men or any men out there, have you done a retreat, and has this made a change in your life? And does this resonate with you? Do you go, ooh, my man needs that, or ooh, I need that? That's really important. I'm excited to get this cacao. I wanted to ask you after these comments. Actually, I wanted to tell you. I've had a ghost situation. I had ghosts in my upstairs.
I do know that
I've been dealing with ghosts.
Situation.
Yeah.
That's why I feel like we gotta get some holy cacao up in you, some good energy.
We do.
maybe it'll send the ghosts out.
We're gonna get that holy cacao. Yeah. I wanted to share with you though about this ghost. First of all, people out there, I want to know if you've ever experienced ghosts, because this is something that's really important. Right, I want to talk about the ghosts, and then we're going to get to make it. I know people are excited to make this cacao. We're going to make it. We're going to make it. But I really want to share this ghost thing. I have been experiencing ghosts in my room since October, November, December. They've been waking me up. I felt it the other day. Like, it's been on and off. Like, no ghost, and then ghost on top of me, pulling down the blankets, moving the pillows. You can just feel it. It's pretty scary. And I saw this lady in London. Her name's Dr. June Williams, and she works with energy. Street Holistics, she's called. And I listen, I'm at this point, I said, okay, if this is some sort of out of this world stuff, then I got to get to the out of this world people, right? I'm not going to just go to any other person up the road. Like, I want someone who's really in this. And she did this incredible exercise with me. And I think she might have been onto something. I was skeptical. I'm skeptical, but I believe in ghosts, but I'm skeptical. And she had me the other day, last week, close my eyes, and then she had me connect to what number of what numbers associated with this ghost experience. I said 8 immediately. Okay. She had me stay in the 8, feeling the 8. And I love that it was a somatic component. I go, oh yeah, great. Then she goes, okay, now think of a time where you were most safe and you felt most good. And I thought about me food shopping with my mom when I was little. We used to go every Sunday food shopping. Oof, went down to like a 1. I go, oh, I feel so much better. And I stayed at the 1, and she had me feeling what 1 feels like. She goes, now go to a 9. Where are you as a 9? And it brought me all the way back to my childhood home that was haunted. I lived in a haunted house, so I had ghosts all of my childhood. And it brought me back to this one room where it felt so scary. It was, even as an adult, my dad admitted that room was not right. It was like, there was some crazy, heavy energy. I don't know if someone died there. I don't know anything. All I know is that room, and I was there, and I started sweating while I had my eyes closed in this meditation. And I feel this darkness just overcoming me. I'm a little kid, and it's overcoming like this. And I didn't prompt this, and she didn't prompt it. But then all of a sudden, this ray of light came from the window that was in that room. And then another ray, and then all of a sudden, the whole house started getting bright, that room. Bright, like blinding bright everywhere. And then I stepped, in this vision, I stepped out of the house, and the whole house was full of light. And this was on Wednesday we did this. Wow. And till today, I've experienced no ghost. And this is the longest span I've experienced no ghost.
Oh my goodness.
And I asked her, what happened? And she goes, well, it doesn't matter what happened. We just went back to the core memory that instilled that frequency that whatever entity is attracted to, that fear, that subtle fear in your body was still there from that room, which actually may have been a ghost room, or actually maybe something darker happened physically to me, I don't remember. Yeah. But something happened in that room that was ghostly or just very, very malicious. And
you were able to go back there, and
I didn't think about it. I actually forgot that was a room in my house. Wow. I forgot about that room because we remodeled it, and it was only a room like that for 2 years when I was a kid. But that room came back up, boom, filled with light, and there's been no ghost coming into my bed. Wow. Not yet. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, so I wanted to share that.
Let's put a pin in that. We'll get back to that one because our friends from Holy Cacao are here.
They are here. Okay, so let's get this cacao going. I want to share about some of the benefits of cacao. Now, a lot of us think about cacao. We think about chocolate. It's same but not same. Hershey's bar is not the same from pure, clean cacao. Now, cacao is wonderful because it's really rich in certain nutrients like polyphenols that help feed your gut, but also they're antioxidants in the body. And when I say antioxidants, we're talking rich antioxidants, brain health, brain inflammation, dementia, Alzheimer's, heart health, even gut health. Cacao has been not only just on a nutrient side, chock full of nutrients, but also there's a sacred component. Many indigenous cultures use it for many ceremonies. So when you mix both, you have the spiritual side and the nutrition side, you have a really, really potent drink. I hear a baby knock at the door, and it is my friends, Blake and Leah from Holy Cacao. Welcome to the show. Come on in, come on in. There she is, Leah. All right.
So happy to be here.
Okay, come on in. Come on in. Come on to the screen. Yeah. Let's all say hi to everyone on the live.
Oh, hello.
Blake and Leah.
We're happy to be here.
Oh, you got the cacao.
These are the founders. Listen, I ain't sponsored by them. I just brought them in because I love them and they're doing good for this world.
That's
yeah.
So we got the Holy Cacao.
We're going to show you how to make it because it's super easy to make at home. We found a lot of people, they would travel to Costa Rica or Guatemala. They'd come home and they'd be like, we have this huge brick of cacao in our kitchen, but we don't know what to do with it. So we try to make it really easy for you to have a daily practice.
Yeah.
But the one thing I told you that you said that really stood out to me when you were talking about men's inability to connect or sometimes there's this feeling of guardedness
Yes,
that you
yes.
can't see.
Yes.
It's a blind spot. So it's like someone says you're guarded, or like your heart doesn't seem open. You're like, what? Cacao is almost an intervention that it goes places that we can't go, to sort of almost as a flight simulator for you to experience what it's like to have a more open heart and be out of your head and in your body. And then hopefully you can then integrate that into your life daily and become more and more heart opening. So they call it medicine of the heart. It's lover's medicine.
People don't know. When I do my emotional release events, Holy Cacao
That's
is the
true.
pre-emotional release drink. Why? Because we get people in their hearts and they start really feeling about what it feels like, so they can get that buzz going.
Totally.
And usually everyone in the event goes.
Totally.
Because you guys cleaned up house last time, and then they were open, emotions started flowing, and there was a lot of crying, a lot of movement.
I like to call it MDMA light a little bit, and it's it's plant medicine in general just shows you what's possible. My favorite story is Rick Rubin was talking about like LSD or something, and he was like, well, in yoga, when I'm sober, I can barely touch my toes. When I take the medicine, I can do plow pose when my legs are all the way. So what that shows me is that it's a block in the mind. So that to us is what the cacao does in a very gentle way. It also tells us, they say that the animal of this plant in South America is the jaguar, a woman huntress, and that the work doesn't have to be hard. So going into the dark doesn't have to be scary like the ghosts. It can be gentle like a hug. And the other thing, guys, before we came, I was like, Christian, where's your pots? He only has this really big pot, which is so great because cacao is about connection. So that means when you come to his house, he has to make it for a lot of people.
For a lot of people, exactly. We do. And you guys came for Christmas. What do we have?
Oh my God.
A lot of people.
Oh, it was so
we
great.
had this big ass pot full of cacao. We were doing it.
It was so great. All right, so very quickly, we're going to teach you, Christian, how to do it. So the first thing you want to do is pick any plant-based milk that you have at home. So we brought you an option. You can choose. You or Emily, if you have
coconut.
Wonderful.
Coconut and cashews.
All right, so we're going to do 2 servings to fill up the pot. So we're going to do about 12 ounces of liquid.
Show them up here.
So
12 ounces?
Yeah, so why don't you fill the milk to there.
I got a little mason jar over here, and we're going to do 12 ounces. I want to make sure I'm in frame. Everything good? Y'all can see over there back home?
Oh, yeah. If you don't have a measuring cup, mason jars are amazing. They have a measuring on
Everyone's got like 1 or 2 mason jars.
So I'm putting the stove on to a simmer. It's because you don't want to burn the cacao. You want to keep it on low to maintain the integrity of the nutritional profile. You can pour it right in there.
Pour it up. You don't want to burn it.
Definitely don't want to burn it.
So always simmer cacao?
Yes, low and slow.
Okay.
And then we're going to take some just regular ceremonial cacao. This is super medicinal. I don't know if you can be able to see, but it comes on a big block, and Blake and I hand chop it for ease of use, which is cool. And it's completely unsweetened. It's 100% cacao with the fat from the cacao butter, so it's super nutrient dense. And I would say, so we normally say 3 tablespoons a serving. So since we're doubling it, 6.
All right. And can I ask you, is this cacao, like, do different cacaos in different places have, you said fat, there's still fat in it. Do people take out the fat? Does it all come the same?
Definitely when you get a cacao powder, like if you go to the smoothie bar and you get, you're like, oh, at Air One, can I get a scoop of cacao in my smoothie? That's defatted. And the powder is without the butter. The paste has the butter in it, and that's part of what defines it as ceremonial, if you will.
So ceremonial means it has the fat.
One of the things. I mean, there's a lot of, it actually means nothing. It's like, it's not an actual certification by any means, but through the practices, it has meaning to the people that practice making the cacao, serving the cacao. So we're gonna put everything in the pot. So this is some local honey from the market, and I'm just gonna eyeball it. I'm gonna do it for you, but I do.
And it's important to get good honey.
Tell them about that.
You don't want to get honey that is coming just from any conventional source, because honey is one of the really, really big foods that can be adulterated with different pesticides, glyphosate being one of them. So you always want to either get a local honey, but also speak and know that the people you're getting the honey from, what they do, how they treat their bees, what the bees are being exposed to.
Totally.
Usually if it has a family story and they're talking about like how they do it on the website, I'm like, okay, you guys are good.
Oh my
Or
God,
going to
I
farmers
love it.
market.
And that's what's so great. I mean, we're here in Los Angeles. Just big plug to visit the farmers markets when you come to LA. They are so incredible. And both Christian and I are from New York. I've never seen some of the fruits and vegetables and honey and bee pollen and all kinds of things that you can get at a market, which is really cool. I'm just going to do a little pinch of cinnamon. The cacao is super forgiving. It's like making chicken soup. There's like 1,000 recipes that make delicious chicken soup. Same for cacao. You can be totally experimental if you want to put cayenne or ginger or maple or anything that you have in your kitchen. It really will take anything. And
You can give it a little kick with the cayenne.
oh, the cayenne's nice.
Okay,
The
that's
cayenne,
cool. That's
the
cool.
cayenne is nice.
Okay.
And so then also, you know, they say to drink your cacao with intention, but also I believe in how we make it. So when I'm cooking it for the market, I have certain music that's playing. I have certain energetically I'm cooking with the intention. And the funniest thing, I swear to God, one time Blake and I were like fighting and I made the cacao and it tasted like shit.
No,
and
come
I
on.
swear to God,
It was
did.
infused.
Yes, because I was like angry making it.
Okay, no, we're
And
doing
then
some
I was
love.
laughing. If it was like a Curb Your Enthusiasm episode, it's like everyone that drank it would start fighting with their partner after.
Like it's
Be
a
like
chain of
reverse,
events.
yes.
Yeah. So we're adding
Okay.
love,
Yes.
love and,
So
and peace.
that's what I was going to say, Christian. What would you like to infuse the cacao with today?
I want today for all the men exposed to this live and to this drink, or the women who are exposed to this who are contacting men, to have a moment in their heart, a real moment in their heart today. I want every man to drop into their heart.
That's so beautiful.
Truly.
And what's something you're going to give to the world today, personally?
Well, I gave that really cool dance that I thought was cool, but no one else did when I started the show. So
I liked it. I loved it.
today we're going to do a somatic experience in Santa Monica.
Whoa.
Sexual somatic, sexual energy,
Ooh.
activating it. So
Oh, wait, it's tonight the
it's
Emily
tonight,
thing?
Emily. Yeah. You need
Sex
to
with
come.
Emily.
You
Big
need to come.
doings.
Big
That's
doings.
such a big deal. I'm so hyped.
Yeah.
I
So
love it.
We're going to be given that, like reconnection back to creative energy. So.
Oh my gosh, because nothing takes you through a vortex than sexual activity, talking about it, and participating in it. It's like a
Reconnecting.
funhouse mirror. Okay, so I see it simmering a little bit.
So you gotta wait. We have all the stuff on top. None of it was mixed.
None of it was mixed, and now we're gonna take one of these beautiful little mixers that you can get anywhere. And I'm just gonna hold it to the side, just here. And you can see all the flavors are gonna come together really nice and frothy.
Okay, so what I see is you're moving it up. You have it at the corner. You're mixing it, and now everything's coming together.
Yes.
Right. The honey, the cinnamon,
Yes.
the milk,
And I'm
it's
just gonna even turn off the heat, just again so we don't overcook it. But if you're doing like a big pot, low and slow, and it can go for several hours, and just really to infuse and marinate the flavors, it only gets better over time, to be honest. Okay.
and how long do you have to mix it with?
2
this,
seconds. Do you see how quick that was? We just
Yeah.
made it. So in the morning time, a lot of the people that love the product will use it in their matcha, in their coffee. Some will just have it as a coffee replacement. It's super versatile.
I am gonna be buzzed up in the best way this afternoon. I know that.
Ooh.
Cacao is really, so it looks beautiful. It looks kind of like pudding.
I don't know. It's funny you say that because you literally can cool it down and put it in a Vitamix with some avocado, and you will have the best chocolate mousse you've ever had. Or we were talking offline about those beautiful like overnight oats or chia puddings. If you just add some chia, whatever you have, we could actually test that now. If you want, I'll serve you guys some, and then the rest we can make, and you can put it in the fridge and
Yeah.
see if you have overnight oats.
That looks so delicious. So
And we're ready to pour.
This took 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so now
Super
we're ready to
easy.
pour. This is enough
Yes.
for
Well,
one?
and ideally you want to just have like a
little
little yes. It's because it's very rich.
Yeah.
So, and again, if you don't want it as dense, you could definitely quote unquote water it down with just a little bit more milk. But
It smells so good.
this one that your kitchen is so clean, by the way, guys. It's pristine in here. I don't want to make a mess.
No, it's okay. I'll clean it up real nice.
This is the one that we make, and then we sell it at the market, and
Yeah.
people go crazy for it. And part of the reason we're just like, it's really good chocolate milk, Part of the reason I think is that it's very rich. So there's a lot of cacao and a lot of fat in it.
Yeah.
So you taste that.
But
So-
what, is this different than this one?
Yes. So just a little product review before we leave. This is 100%. So there's nothing added, straight cacao. So you know when you go to the store and it says 55% chocolate,
Yeah.
75%, this is 100%. So there is nothing added to it.
That's nutrient rich. People don't. They need to know that 100%.
Most medicinal.
Yeah, that is. Remember what I was talking about the benefits. That is rich.
And what else? The biohackers are talking about, Christian, that it regenerates your stem cells. Like cacao is starting to get a lot of love online, and it's thanks to you and many other people online talking about the benefits of it. So we're super grateful. This one is a blend. So this one is 75%, and inside is a little bit of rose, cinnamon, and panela, which is an unrefined sweetener from Mexico that the Mayans traditionally paired with cacao to create a nutritional profile that was sort of balanced, and we just are honoring them by doing that. And so this is great for moms who want to just make the kids hot chocolate after school. It's already quote unquote sweetened.
Listen, we ain't playing around. I got my own in the pantry here. I finished this one a while ago. I need a re-up, by the way.
Oh, this is all yours. You get to keep it.
We love it here at my house.
But I actually am going to, Emily, can you come on and have a little moment with me and Christian?
Yes, I think it's the first time Emily's been in the kitchen
Whoa.
during the live.
And did people know that I'm in the same room?
Yeah.
Because I wanted to, so this one, when she was saying that it's really thick, you could almost, I'm not going to do it here because we are live, you can almost do that like DQ test.
Dairy Queen?
Yeah, the Dairy Queen test is like where you hold it over your head.
I love that.
And it like this.
No, I mean, I don't know if it's a compliment or an insult, but someone was like, it's kind of like ketchup in a bottle. I can't get it out and I have to shake it. I was like, okay. But to your point, it's, I also don't want to tamper with the richness of it. But so then what's so beautiful, let's say, you know, you're inviting, definitely shout out to my men out there who want to invite a lady friend over. Instead of having a glass of wine or even a cup of coffee, you can just bring them over to have a nice cup of cacao and do a little. For couples, I always joke that like all your relationship problems go away for $9.99 in a bottle, but you can
Unless you drink them.
when I was fighting. But you guys can practice eye gazing together, which can be so intense with someone you love. Like I could eye gaze with a stranger, no problem, but with someone that I actually love, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so exposing. Why is that?
Eye gaze because it's so vulnerable, especially like when it goes deeper in a relationship.
It's so scary, and also I just want to say, here's my last plug that like I always have to remember. It's so much in partnership. It's so much easier to expose and observe the other person's blind spots or shadow or things like that. And then I always have to remember, oh, everything is a reflection and a mirror of me. So whatever level of discomfort I think they are having with like vulnerability or honesty or whatever, I have to search for myself and say, where is that within me? And that's the message of cacao. What it does is brings us back to self-love. Last thing I'll sort of say is like most suffering is self-absorption. It's ego, it's a self-absorption, it's an isolated experience. When we are in connection, the ego is destructed and the suffering is sort of destroyed and you're in flow. So cacao says, oh, okay, I can be at peace and in love with myself. That allows me to be in love and connection with one another. And then what does love come to creation to add to the world and then be in love with the world? And, you know, those meditations where you practice, like, I think it's Joe Dispenza is like, can you just love, or it's Ram Dass, can you just love the tree? Can you go out and love the birds? So for us, the cacao, so
it's the portal.
Yeah, it is the portal. So it's so beautiful before you have some cacao with friends to offer an intention, a gift of like scanning the body, noticing if there's any disturbance or anything that's blocking you from being fully present to give and receive love. And can we use the cacao as an intervention, as a tool to ask for help? And in that humility, the emotional blockage begins to transcend and to release and to soften and to open. So again, I encourage everybody today, seek to understand instead of being understood for today. And for me, when I go through the day, just saying, can I remove myself and be more understanding? It brings more love and harmony into my relationships, and that I find creates the most quality of life.
Ooh, amen.
Amen.
I felt that one. Amen. All right, here we go.
Little cacao. How did we do?
Ooh, I feel it in my body.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Woo.
I like it warm like this
Yes.
too. Ooh.
That's very good. Shout
It's
out to
so good.
Elmhurst milk. That was good. No
Well,
gums or fillers, right, Krishnan?
No, and it doesn't feel. The thing is, it's rich, but if it doesn't feel like I'm drinking bitter rich. It's
I know.
good. It's a balance.
Well, that's for your other episode. I think talking about like the frequency or the energies of foods. It's so funny. It's like less about what the food is and how it's prepared. Like there's this joke that someone once, not a joke, but they would say like, "Oh, I'm super clean, type A. I don't have seed oils. I don't have this." But when I go to my grandmother's house, if I say no to her like macaroni and cheese that's with lard or whatever, the pain and the injury that I would inflict by saying no to this woman who wants to feed me, that if I eat the loving mac and cheese, even if I'm gluten intolerant, for that moment,
it's different.
yes.
And I'll say this quick thing. I had a friend who spoke to one of the leading quantum physicists who lives in Italy, and they were talking, and he's been like searching for scientific evidence of everything in the world, our relationship to the world. And essentially, he said, physics-wise, it's not even the thing, it's the relationship to the thing. That's crazy because it's like, things are objectively going to hurt you if I smoke cigarettes every day. But I wonder if my relationship to smoking the cigarettes every day was like, it is what it is, it's not gonna hurt me, I'm strong, I'm robust. If even that mindset changes the experience.
I think so. And I did a Tom Knowles meditation training, and he talked about that the state, he said like, when you're in a relaxed state, if you eat a hot dog, your body will process the hot dog and reject everything that's foreign and take the nutrients. It's like if you're in a stress state and you eat an apple, your body's gonna reject the whole thing and it's gonna cause complications.
Yeah, for sure, exactly.
So I 100%, like I feel like we should do an experiment. You could be the like week to week. And
Hey, listen, I'm sensitive to a lot of food, so let's do mindful versus just every day and just see how that changes.
I wonder.
I last Friday, there's a new-ish restaurant here in Venice called Companion. Have you guys been to Companion?
I've been to the coffee.
Shout out though, that's Nick and
Yes,
Dakota.
Nick and Dakota, they're
yes,
amazing.
from Narwhal. We love them.
Good
Yes.
friends of mine, and I was going that night, and I actually ran into the owners that day, and Dakota was like, "Nick, Emily's gonna eat gluten for us tonight because it's
Their
it's
pizza's supposed to
Italian
be
food
amazing.
and it's all pasta and pizza, and so dairy and gluten, and I typically avoid dairy and gluten." And I was saying, I am sure that you guys have incredible high quality products, and I believe that most people are glyphosate intolerant. I mean, you mentioned the glyphosates with honey as opposed to necessarily gluten intolerant. And it's just psychosomatically that then you're thinking, oh, this gluten's bad for me, and so your body's rejecting it. And, Nick was sharing with me like how high quality their flour is, that it's regeneratively farmed. They get some of it from Italy, some of it from like an amazing local farmer, and really, really incredible. And so I was very intentional as I was eating the pasta and the pizza and all of the things that I wasn't telling myself this is gonna hurt me, and I didn't have any issues. I was really full because I ate a lot, but I didn't feel like I had any sort of adverse reaction.
It's so much of our mindset. We had years ago, we had a family party, and I thought I was eating chicken at the party, but it was chitlings. You know what that is?
Yes,
it's
I
like
do.
guts, the guts of the chicken.
Yes.
Chicken
Shout
guts.
out New York City, born and bred.
Yeah. So I didn't learn about that till hours later, the ride home, like literally 6 hours later, when my mom said, no, that was the intestines.
Yeah.
Immediately I felt hot and sick, and I go, oh, I'm bloated, and I started burping, and I was like, I was completely fine a few hours
when you thought
ago.
that it was
Yeah.
Well, I hate to make it like it's not see, this is not female or male, but like I have my male counterpart that will be like, I'm so worried about gaining weight that the fear of gaining weight, I'll gain weight. So I can just think myself fat. Whereas like he will just eat anything, and he's not like attaching, there's not a fear attachment like this, I'm gonna get fat, this is, so it just, that's it. And so I think again, when they're like, why in Paris, the girls, they smoke cigarettes and eat bread or whatever, it's also not this obsession or like attachment to what something is going to do.
It's the same like rule that applies to why the placebo effect. works.
Yes.
You know, it's
but
that,
negative.
But negative.
Yes.
But the opposite. And
Yes.
I always remember there's this like crazy study that they did on these shakes. So they gave everyone, have you heard this one? They gave everyone the exact same shake.
Like a protein shake? Yeah.
Well, so they told one group that it was like, you know, ice cream indulgent, like that kind of shake. And they told the other one that it was this like meal replacement, like, and their bodies metabolized the shake differently based on what they thought it was. And it was the exact same.
This is the new nutrition medicine.
Yes.
This is the new nutrition. We got to do some more research on that.
Well, thank you so much for having us. I love both of you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
I mean, everybody knows I was listening to Dr. G's podcast before I met him, so it was like meeting someone famous. Hey! And the amount of work, can we just acknowledge team Dr. G out there, Heal Thyself? The amount of information that I go into every episode, it's like, it's so beautiful.
Thank you.
You were such a gift to the community.
Thank
and
you.
A trusted voice. That's why his stamp on our cacao means something. And
That's
yes,
right.
metal tested. We have the paperwork.
Yeah, exactly. High quality. It's got to be. Thank you. Thank you for coming through.
Thank
course.
you so
My
much.
New York friend.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone, that was that was nice. And listen, there's an extra one here, and you know where that's going, right in my mouth in a little bit. I'm getting buzzed up from cacao. Here's my favorite types of getting buzzed up. So thanks, Holy Cacao. Thank you, Leah. Thank you, Blake. Look, that was easy. That took 5 minutes. I didn't know it was that easy. Usually my partner makes it, to be honest. But me, now I know how to make my own cacao. And then that cayenne part, that sounded real nice because you know I like a little spice. So if you love cacao, try this company. Again, there's no affiliation. I get nothing from this. Maybe a few bottles every now and then. but no, I really want to. My goal on this live is to bring in smaller companies who don't sponsor me on the podcast, but I really want to highlight as doing really good products, good quality, good ethics, who I just want to highlight. And that's why this live is really important to me. Okay, we drank some nice cacao. You mic'd up now?
I'm mic'd up. And we have some comments.
Yes, perfect.
Yes, so responding to, because we've gone through a lot, you know, we talked about the men's retreat, we talked about your ghost.
Yes.
We had some cacao, so we got to get back into all of it. But Queen Cutie 55 said, if we sent all men to Dr. G's retreat, the dating world would be great again. Every man I meet, instantly you can tell they are unhealed. Incredible work, Dr. G.
And thank you, Queen Cutie. You are the queen because, you know, like, I feel for this. I have a lot of female friends in this community. A lot of them are having so much trouble dating because they are expressing to us that it's really hard to find a man. Now, I know you don't have a problem with this because you've been together with Brady for a long time, but like, at least we know in LA, but I think it's just a microcosm of the whole country, is that a lot of men aren't present, right? A lot of men aren't in a healthy masculine, right? So we sort of don't know. There was a big movement that we're like, oh, do I pay for this, or do I maybe allow her to pay for it? And we kind of just don't know. Some of the worst things I hear from my female friends is, he's so wishy-washy. He's like, will you be around this day? Okay, maybe this time. How about this time? Does this time work? Versus saying like, I want to take you out. Here's the days I'm available. Does this work for you? Yes? Okay. I'll plan this. I'll plan something for us. You know, just setting the logistical so she doesn't have to worry about anything.
But how interesting is it that we only experience the expression or the outcome? So we just experience that he's wishy-washy or whatever else. But maybe, you know, naturally he is like that, and he was with someone where she then felt like he was too demanding and he was too whatever. And so now he's like just over analyzing and is like, well, I don't want to be too pushy because I don't know yet if she likes me, and you know, what if she doesn't want to do this, or I come across as, you know, demanding and she doesn't actually. And so he's thinking his way out of just being natural.
That's it.
And if he were to just do, you know, what's natural to him, but he's pulled so far away from his intuition that he's like, I have to, you know, calculate and analyze and decide how I'm going to show up instead of truly just knowing what feels natural.
What feels natural, but he's got to know what feels natural. That's the problem. Men have this story that they need to be one way or maybe another way. they don't have very strong role models as to like, what's the best healthy way to show up for a woman, right? Even if it's on a first date, how can you show up authentically as your grounded, present, healthy masculine self? Everything else will work its way, right? Because you're going to attract a partner who's going to receive that, or even people on a date who's going to receive it or not. But even people who don't receive it are going to give you good relativity. Like, okay, well, actually, I don't want that vibe either. So men are starting to lean into these tools, and like, it's like this one guy came in. He was kind of like, he was kind of like he didn't take up space. He was kind of quiet. He was walking like this. He didn't speak up. He didn't talk to many people. He was really shy. But by the second day, his back was straight. His shoulders were back. He felt like a man. There was an attraction. I was attracted to his energy. I wanted to be around him. I wanted to know more about him because he started taking up more space. Now imagine, that's just me as a heterosexual man, but I imagine, what about a woman? That shift. What about his wife when he comes home? What's going to change?
What's funny that you mention his posture. So in the last White Lotus episode, if people are keeping up with White Lotus, and I'll try to explain it for people who aren't, but there's a younger brother and his kind of, I think what they're trying to portray about him is that he's indecisive. He doesn't know what he wants. His family's this like very, just very strong personalities, and he's not, and he doesn't really know who he is. And his mom sends him to a posture correcting class, and they're in Thailand, and the teacher doesn't actually get into the physical posture correcting. He starts to, he's talking, and it's more of a therapy session. And the kid kind of comes back and is like, we didn't even, do anything with my posture. But the whole point was, it's an energetic thing. Like, he's closing himself off. He's like sitting like this. And it's, if he can work on the energetics and the mental, that it's what you said about the guy with the pain earlier. It's, the expression is something physical, but the root isn't physical. Yeah,
and on that episode of White Lotus, when he put his left leg over himself, the guy said, I see you protect yourself with your feminine side.
And so that's something that's really interesting that I've been thinking of, as I was talking to a friend recently who said that he has always felt like he has been a little bit more in his feminine, and he recently started seeing a girl who's very comfortable or she's found that she's kind of been in past relationships more in her masculine, but them together, they found themselves naturally, him being more in his masculine and her being more in her feminine, because they were overcompensating with the other one.
That's the work. So when you come into that, you kind of find here's what happens. You come into a relationship and you see, if you're conscious of this and aware, you see, oh my God, I've been out of balance, they've been out of balance, and you always actually attract the reciprocal, or at least the person who inflames you the most to make the most amount of change.
Yeah, because it's always, everything is seeking balance. And so naturally, like at this energetic level, the universe is trying to give you these opportunities to come back in balance. And I mean, the interesting thing about talking about masculine and feminine energies is this doesn't just have to be men and women. It can also apply to women who are more in their masculine. Like, it's all energy, and we all have a combination of the two. And so I think women can learn a lot about, what's going on in these men's retreats around their masculine and their relationship with their masculine. And it can, also apply to same-sex relationships.
Everything.
Yeah.
Which brings the reciprocal side of the guy who came in kind of like this and was standing up. There was guys that came in standing up, but it was fake, it was false, it was inflated confidence, right? The truth is, they were sad and scared. So it wasn't until they were sad and scared, they weren't attractive either, because I can feel that that's just like my protection to be like big. But the truth is, I wasn't attracted to them as men until they were able to soften up. So when I saw them soften up, I go, there's that guy's heart. And then I was able to have a heart-to-heart conversation versus my heart to his head. So there's balance. It's always a team. But so for the people who are interested in these men's retreats, meld.community, meld.community. Do I have the hat on? No, I was wearing it this morning. Meld.community is where you go to. There's the next retreat is in the Berkshires in the Northeast, and that's in October. There's a wait list already that will sell out. So DM me if you're interested for your man. But we'll probably do something a little bit before. So did anyone comment on these ghosts? I want to go back to these dang ghosts.
Someone on YouTube made a little joke, I hope, and said, "Who is that long-haired creature in the bottom window?" And me and Jason are like,
Long-haired creature. If that person's a visionary and sees that might be my damn ghost.
yeah.
And tell him that we've named him Roberto. Roberto, my damn ghost. That's
Yeah,
funny.
is that what you named?
No.
Have you named your ghost?
No, I don't want to give my ghost a dang name because we have a relationship that is not a very friendly one. Sometimes I'll yell, I'll be like, leave me alone, I'm trying to sleep. So.
Yeah, I have come in to work with Christian quite a few times when he has shared the night before, unfortunately, having another interaction with the ghost. But so let's see. And what's so interesting about it is that's the same work that you do with other traumas, with other, in therapy, where you go back and yes, you at, your current awareness and intelligence and more context, you think that you can see something that you've been through and heal it, but you actually have to go back and like, as that 8-year-old kid, you have to heal it then. And you have to go, tell him that we're good and allow the light come in for him. And, whatever the entity or the energy or that darkness was, he has to know that it's okay, not just you.
And the healing, that was the most important thing, because everyone has a child inside of them that is still in pain. A lot of these men that in the retreat, to go back to that, had a lot of back to going as a child. One guy felt really lonely as a kid, but he still felt lonely as an adult. He couldn't make deep relationships and friends because he still felt the rejection of being lonely as a kid.
Because we're just those little kids that, are continuing those patterns that we've developed when we were younger so subconsciously that we don't know how they're showing up. But we have all of these opportunities, whether it be in relationship, and how Leah was talking about that it's just a mirror, and, you have all of these opportunities and the blind spots that you have on yourself that you're seeing in the other person to start to notice, oh, maybe, there's this pattern that I'm not that 7-year-old kid anymore. I'm not lonely anymore.
It is so potent. If you haven't done any inner child work and not actually close your eyes and actually went deep into your body and actually called in that part of you, and it's funny because you can call in whatever age, and it's the first age. From when she said, go to that room, I already knew what year it was. I could even almost smell that room. It was crazy. Wow. Interestingly enough, talk about dreams, I have had since I was that age, about 3 times a year, a dream of me going into a house, and before I open the house, there's a secret in the house. There's a room that's locked that has screams going on behind the room, and I've had that dream multiple times a year until like this year still.
And have you looked much into like the psychology of dreams, or
I'm fascinated.
Yeah, me too. I want to do more research, but I have heard that it's similar to, we had talked about ayahuasca and your ayahuasca experience on the first show, but that it's similar to when people see certain idols, I think they go. So like if you see a snake or whatever, that it's your brain creating a metaphor for something that connects with you. And so that's what we're doing in our dreams, is like trying to understand things that we don't understand in our life. And it shows up as a metaphor though. So we often get confused because we just see the metaphor, but we don't think, okay, what is this actually trying to express? Because maybe it's not about the room, it's about the fear underneath it. Like it's always about the emotion that's underneath it, as opposed to how it's presenting, so people who are always like in my dream, I'm always trying to, or when I have nightmares, I'm trying to run. This is so weird, but I'm like laughing, so I can't run away from something. So my like nightmares be like laughing, but I can't run away from whatever I'm trying to run away from. Because I'm laughing too much. And for some reason in my dreams, I can't run and laugh.
But you don't die in your dreams. I don't think I've ever died.
I don't die in my dreams, but I will. And mine actually seems to be very aligned with the moon. I'll always have like crazy vivid dreams where I actually wake up exhausted. Wow. And then I'm like, oh, it's a full moon. Or huh?
Yeah. That changed. Yeah, I've had tidal wave dreams, which actually has mean like there's something like White Lotus. There's something coming to heavy, or big, or emotions. But when I remember when I was having the series of tidal wave dreams, I would have them pretty much every month for 2 years, the tidal wave would get closer every dream. And then the last dream that I had, I was going into a hotel. I opened the door, and the tidal wave was in the hotel room.
Wow.
And I kept telling my partner at the time, there's something coming. But it was actually a good thing. I actually closed this really big deal, and it changed my life back then. And that was a tidal wave that was coming. It's like, wow, like the universe was communicating with me. But
when you create a story around it and say, oh, tidal wave must be a bad thing.
Yeah, it wasn't. It
that
felt good. It felt like something was coming for the career. I felt it. What, you know, if you ask my partner, she was here, she'd be like, oh my God, Christian every weekend morning tells me about his dreams for like 20 minutes. And you know.
That's your way of, some people say like keep a journal by your bed and like.
No, I talk to her. So Claire.
Claire's your journal.
God forbid, she loves quiet mornings, and me, I'm singing Prince every morning. So it's a crazy duality. But yeah, I would love to hear anyone in the comments, do you have a recurring dream? And if so, what happens in that dream? You know, I did ayahuasca with the Zapata tribe. Minari, the leader of the Zapata tribe, it's actually a dream. He has a dream interpretation course. And it's the Minari's dreams course.
Well, because you said that that when people are sick in his tribe, right? Was this the same group that he has dreams
the
about
remedies.
About you know what plant to give them or
So every day in that retreat, we would have to write our dreams and then tell him about our dreams, and he would interpret it for us.
Wow.
He actually said that because he works with politicians there, when he would have a meeting with the politician, he would go into their dreams and positively influence them for initiatives that save the rainforest, that protect the Amazon from destruction and like oil companies coming in.
That's crazy.
And he said it always works. I said, this guy's a dream hacker.
Yeah, you're like, is that legal?
Are you like jumping into people's dreams? It's like Inception type shit. And he was like getting positive stuff. I was like, wow, is that legal?
Yeah.
Seems very invasive, but you do what you got to do to protect the rainforest.
Wow, that's all. I could see that being some sort of movie. That's like the next superhero.
Right?
Is he? He's the dream hacker.
The dream jumper, the dream hacker. How the comments looking? Anything coming up?
Okay, we just have Queen Cutie jump back in saying that the entire week of the full moon dreams are insane for her.
I wonder if that's common too. I would love to know how common that is for people. Yeah, it's really been something. The past few weeks have been something, but.
Do you feel when you have really vivid dreams, like do you feel tired in the morning? Or do you not feel like it impacts your day? The
only thing that impacts my day is a ghost jumping in my bed when I'm sleeping. But the dreams, no. I actually tend to have crazy, vivid. Yeah. And you know what's crazy? In the dream, I'll actually realize this is pretty incredible for me to experience in a dream. In the dream, I'll say, how am I so...
What, is that lucid dreaming?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like I'll hear a song.
Yeah.
But the song will be, I'll recognize a song, but I'll remix the song.
Wow.
But with talents that I don't have in this world into a song.
I mean, maybe you do. Maybe it's your own limiting beliefs that are getting in the way.
Exactly.
Because in your dream, you do.
Exactly.
You
like Leah was saying.
Yeah.
Rick Rubin not being able to touch his toes, but on LSD being able to touch his toes.
Like we have to wonder how much, and I think a lot. Like I think about this with, I was just thinking about this recently, because a friend of mine is running the LA marathons coming up, and there's quite a few people who have been through big health things or big injuries, and they come back to be like have so much more motivation, and they run marathons and triathlons and do these like crazy things that, I mean, that has to be so much mind over matter, that it's like I now have this motivation to prove, you know, how strong my body is because I came back from this, and that they're able to do it.
Yeah. Limiting beliefs.
Yeah.
It's the major thing. The fact that, and this is one of the most potent things that I remember as we start rounding out the show, is that I was in school. I was in my medical school in my second year, and I was sleeping, and I wake up to someone blasting classical orchestra music, and I was by the parking lot, so I thought someone was blasting it in their car. And I was like, what is going on? The sun is hardly out and someone's playing this. And then I'm sort of like kind of just waking up, and I realize it's in my head. But here's the crazy thing. When I realized it was in my head, I knew what to do with the music. So then I started like activating different instruments that I didn't even know, and then scoring it. And I played the most beautiful orchestra that I had tears coming down my eyes. They were still closed, because I go, how am I making such beautiful music without me having any experience in making music?
That's incredible.
That's the limiting beliefs.
Yeah. Okay. We have some dreams in the comments. So a recurring dream since I was little about driving on the highway, and all of a sudden the highway ends and my car flies off the highway. When I got older, maybe 10 years ago, that dream evolved. So I would be curious if someone was able to translate what that dream means.
Driving off the highway. Driving, everything, and then they go off the highway. It's like an unexpected thing, unexpected trauma, right?
Yeah.
Clarity, and something giving them no clarity. Or I would take it as clarity, and then can you trust now the car going off the highway that you'll be okay?
It's similar to, and it might just be her feeling, because you have the tidal wave. Like, to me, I'm hearing you say tidal wave, and my association with the word tidal wave is like scary. Something bad is coming, but you could feel the whole time that like something was coming and it was good. Yeah. And so maybe for her, it's just that feeling. Like when you're driving off the highway, does it feel free and like you're supposed to surrender, or does it feel scary and uncertain? And
yeah, exactly.
Okay. Revisiting my home when I was a teenager again and again. So I'm curious if, similar to your ghost story, if there's something there.
What's in the home?
That.
What are you revisiting? Is it a room? Right? What's the feeling? Is it scary or is it exciting?
And interestingly enough, the next comment is very similar, going back to my childhood home where I lived for 10 plus years. It's always my home and I keep ending up there.
Ending up there in joy and peace, or for me, it was scary. Like anytime my home came up, there was either a memory of my mom or it was scary. It was ghost, monsters, whatever it is, or a memory of my mom. So there's associations. Yeah. It's really like, how do you feel in this experience?
Yeah, because the memories of your mom could be your subconscious giving you these memories, like giving you her, to continue to remember her. But then the fear is maybe like something that, it's giving you that you can work through. And that's why the ghosts are still showing up, is because something
needs to be worked through. Yeah. I know. We're looking for it. All right, cool. We have cacao, and I'm feeling buzzed. I might not be able to drink this one. It's so strong, but it's good. Like my heart is opened up. Cacao gets me really good.
Yeah. I know. I knew. I was like, I'm not gonna have my morning matcha. I'm gonna come in clean and just cacao.
So we've been talking about it for a while. We want to take calls on the show. It is in the works. We're excited. It should be rolling out within the next week or two, so we can take calls from all of you. It's really important for me to connect with everyone outside the comments, and I want to hear from you, and I want to feature you on this show. So let's keep a little mark on that. And thank you, Emily, for joining the show again. We got maybe 6 or 7, and the show's slowly going up. So thank you all for joining this live. It's probably time to go back to work.
Yeah.
But we hope we got you good on the lunch break, and you learned some things: cacao, dreams, men's retreats. We talked about it all. Thank you so much. Love you, everyone. Kitchen 2.